Okay, it's sunny today, but it isn't always sunny. And so I'm going to do myself a favor and just pull this cap of the cover for my Companionway slide. It's obviously broken in here, and I'm going to yank it, bring it in the shop, dry it out, and see if I can't repair that and get it back on here to keep everything going on down below nice and dry. Because, yeah, it's going to rain again soon. So checking on the height of this deck, we're sitting at 6'6", if you believe it or not, exactly my height. That is one Simon tall. And since I gotta rebuild this entire deck, and we made that kind of commitment, and it's gonna cost me, yeah, you know, whatever that number is, high. That's why we have credit cards, right? Anyway, I've got to be thinking now about the look and design and feel of the boat. One of the things that I can't really replicate is the teak. So this fine teak work, railings, I'd like to be as careful as I can removing them because I can't really replace these, or it's not going to be in my budget to ever replace these. But also, I'm not sure if I want them. I'm toying around with ideas. I got to think about it. If you look at it, it is tied in to the rest of the gunnels all along the boat, but so it will be hard to kind of, I'll have to create something to end it if I'm going to end it, but ideally I don't have to end it. Ideally it all comes up as one piece, but we'll do some deck demolition first and we'll see how that goes, and then we'll get to the railing and hopefully it comes up nice and clean. Hey, this is Simon back in my shop, and I just want to tell you guys about my sponsor for this episode, Vetra's 12-volt heated 100 amp hour battery. Now, Vetra has been taking over the market lately. They've got tons of options, 12 volt all the way up to 48 volt, loads of variants all in between. It's crazy just the variety of batteries they have. They have 12 volt 100 amp hour batteries as little as 280 Canadian dollars, which is nuts. This one here is a bit more premium. It has the Bluetooth, it has low temp protection, and it also has heated. This is a heated battery, a feature that's been reserved for just the most premium of lithium iron phosphate batteries is now available for 399 loonies. So let's get into it, let's test it, and let's make sure it does what it says it does. Well, the weather has gotten a little bit warmer here, so I can't just leave it outside in a snowbank. I'm gonna have to take it up and put it in Barry's freezer. Oh my God, look at that sunrise. Spring's around the corner, I'm so excited. Anyway, as you can see, it is kind of the normal size, which is a little disappointing because these lithium iron phosphates have been getting smaller. So this is not smaller. This one is the same weight I'm used to seeing. It's the same size, but it does come with a lot of features, including the Bluetooth and the self-heating and the low temp protection, all of which lets me excuse the larger form factor. It's not the priority of this battery. I've already tested I've tested the Bluetooth, and the app is actually quite well made, which is nice, because that's not always the case with some of these. So I was happy to see that. This old freezer. Oh, still have some chicken drumsticks down there. Anyway, we'll set this in there, let it cool down, and I will get my charging set up. Okay, so we put the battery in the freezer. We've had it sitting there cooling down. I checked on the app, and it was definitely below the freezing temperature. I think it was at -5 degrees when I started. I turned on the power supply, connected it, confirmed on the app that there's no current going in, but unfortunately my power supply read a current the whole time. But then I noticed that the top of the battery was getting a slight warm spot when I was checking with the thermal camera. And sure enough, all the current that was coming in here was going to a heating element and slowly bringing up the temperature. So we've just done the freezer test. The top of the battery has the heater in it, because you feel the bottom is still quite cold. Top is almost 20 degrees up there. The temperature reading on the BMS just passed 15 degrees Celsius, and the charging finally came in again. Now from the outside I couldn't tell, because the power supply was always reading 5 amps going in, and what it was doing is taking those 5 amps and pouring it straight into the heater. It says on the website that it's supposed to go 0 degrees, the heater kicks on, and then at 5 degrees the charging kicks on. Now I assume that there's more than one temperature sensor in this BMS module, because the one that they're reading, the T1, was reading much higher than 5 degrees Celsius, 15 degrees, before the actual charging started. So it's not the most accurate, and I also kind of wish the app had graphs so it could tell me how much power over time. It could give me a better idea of like when loads were coming on in the middle of the night. Otherwise, I'm very pleased to see how the heaters worked. It did finally kick back on, like I said, and it's working great. So we're just gonna get this thing fully charged and go test it out on the water. So I got this fridge in from a client. I'm just going to do a quick troubleshooting on it before I send it off to Barry. But we wanted to maybe run the whole system off the 12-volt battery. And because I'm testing the Veteran battery, I thought, great example, great way to kind of see what it'll do. It's been 16 hours. The fridge burns 45 watts while it's running, but it doesn't run all the time. Obviously it gets the temperature and it turns off, turns back on. So 16 hours, and it's burned roughly 500 watt hours, which means over 10 hours of actual running. So the fridge, which was totally warm when I plugged it in, probably not the best case example, but you can assume the fridge is gonna run more than 50% of the time. So I always told people, hey, get another battery. If you're gonna put a fridge on your boat, on your van, in your RV, whatever it is, get another battery, because over the course of a day it's going to burn through that battery, and you're going to need a 24-hour charging cycle of some sort. Now in this case, probably 48 hours, which is lovely, because the lithiums actually give you a full 100 amp hours. So I'm able to log into the app and see what this fridge is consuming just by connecting it directly to the battery. See the consumption through the app, which is amazing. I just can't see it over time. So, great, but not perfect. All right, follow up on the fridge situation. We're just about at 3 days, and it's at 2% battery. So now I just put it back on the charger. We're charging it back up. The fridge has been running smoothly, 45 watts on and off. It does a pretty good job, but 3 days is pretty insane out of one battery for one fridge. Looks like the herring are spawning. They've just taken over all of Silva Bay. Everywhere you look, there's herring. It's kind of cool to see them flashing underneath. I'm working on the, ooh, listen to that thing go. You can see it sag now. So there was a support in the center here, but what it did was sit directly on my traveler for my main. And so I've taken it off and I want to weld up something to reinforce this. But before I get to that stage, I still got to pull out the rot here. So as you can see, the construction seems to be a sort of pine. It smells like pine to me. Wet, rotting pine. And we're just going to cut away enough of it until the rot stops, and then we'll replace what we have to cut away. And then we'll have to figure out that support and what we're going to do with that. We'll see. Check this out. Watch them communicate through ripples. Oh, it's hard to see that one. There's something else. You see that? A ripple moving back. That's cool. All right, we're gonna take a little bit of a break before we get too carried away with the work. Flossie's here for the weekend, so we're doing a dive. This is Olabar Point. It's on the north end of Gabriola. It's exposed to more of the strait that I'm used to diving in. Kind of similar to Valdez Island. No, what's the island?
Carlos Island.
It's kind of similar to Carlos Island in that it's exposed to the strait, but there's more current there.
Current means more life, more turnover, probably more creatures.
And we're gonna cross our fingers to have an encounter with an octopus. That's what I want, big time. But probably not for Flossie until they get their scuba gear sorted out, because they're down deep.
If you see an octopus and I don't,
that's what's gonna happen. You gotta get at least 50 feet down before you start seeing them. I mean, I say that, yes, because I saw one 2 days ago that was at like 20 feet, but it was tiny, little baby. Yeah. We're looking for the giant Pacifics.
They're my favorite creatures. They're so majestic and beautiful.
They are. Yeah.
I'm not into harvesting octopus, but I just adore them.
I just want to get in there and just tickle.
I feel like I'm gonna get an octopus tattoo this year, and I have to see one in real life.
How will you know what they look like otherwise? You won't even know how to tattoo an honest. Jeez. The guy could tattoo a squid, and you'd be like, "Oh, looks good to me."
Is it a squid or is it an octopus?
You know, it'd be really great.
What?
Is if you had, like, because they're always hiding under rocks.
Yes.
So if you had it, like, just poke it out from under your butt cheek or something, like, "Hey, what's up? I'm an octopus."
That is a choice. I think I'm gonna put it here because it's one of my a nice easy place.
All right.
Get Haley to do it.
I still think the butt's the move.
You first.
Okay, got it. Yeah, we'll see. nailed it.
It's freaking awesome.
It's just the right amount. I was like, is that too much peanut butter? No, it's the right amount.
Right amount of peanut butter. Excellent amount of punch.
How do you like the lemon zest on top?
It's good.
Tiny
It needs
little
it. Needs it.
Yeah, just liven it up a bit.
Well, it was amazing to hang out with Flossie, but I'm all business now. I'm back to the Companionway slider cover that's been broken. First I epoxy it back into position, and now I'm adding a aluminum plate to reinforce it. It's just an area that people like to stand on and sit on a bunch, so I like to try and get as much reinforcement in there and make it as strong as possible so that this kind of problem doesn't happen again.
It's weird to be on this deck with no railing whatsoever, but I guess that's how most boats are, you know? I had plenty of boats without lifelines before. Anyway, been on the search for some beams, some stock to make my beams out of. I've entertained mahogany, sapele, yellow cedar, and also even fir. This fir is super plentiful out here. We're in fir country, Douglas fir country, and as it happens, I had a conversation with Chris this morning, and he's like, oh yeah, I got some clear cross grain, fir, vertical grain stuff that you can just have for free. Well, shit. Can't argue with free. Let's go have a look. So 2 of these planks are 3.5 inches thick. They're also nearly 20 inches wide and nearly 20 feet long, which, if you're doing some quick math, means that each of these planks should have enough wood in them to do all of my beams. Which is hard to really square when you are just looking at them, but then you go to pick them up, and that makes a lot more sense. These are the pieces here, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, but they're so heavy that my roof rack on my van cannot handle them, so we're gonna have to think of another plan. Okay, well, as you guys are watching this episode, it's coming out on Friday morning. I'll probably be meeting a friend who has a nice big truck and a trailer to tow those 2 giant beams out of the bush and bring them up to here to the yard so we can start processing them and getting ready for dock time. Dock time will be coming up in less than 2 weeks, and at which point the demolition will begin, and I'll be calling all the favors in and getting my friends down there. From the 15th of April till the 15th of May, we will be going hard at this aft deck and the cabin structure and the last few things that I have here. So if you guys want to be a little bit patient with me in the meantime, I'm going to be working as hard as I can. Flossie's going to be editing, but I will be posting a few of the episodes from my travels in Taiwan and in Japan. We've got a lot of those to clock in, and please check them out. They're actually really good. A lot of people really like them, and they're just not getting the clicks that the other stuff is. So stick with it.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to Vetra for sponsoring this episode. Link is in the description. Please check them out and let them know that I sent you, and we'll see you next Friday.